All right, welcome everybody to the webinar starting off the new year, right? And the webinar topic is Secrets to Success, Shop Resolutions that Stick. Because we all have resolutions that we have. Sometimes they don't necessarily stick, so we're going to go over some things to help you get the year started off right and continuing with a bang. Now, my name is Jim Saeli, and as I get the webinar squared away here, there we go. Jim Saeli, I'm a senior consultant in management success. Do training, consulting, shop inspections. I've been with the company for 10 years. I also have been in the field for over 30 myself in the automotive industry, had my own shop. That's how I found management success way back in the 1990s. And because of what they taught me, more than double the size of my business. So we're going to get into this today and rapid fire, because I know you guys are busy. I'm going to give you about a half an hour or so. And at the end of the webinar, we, of course, have a survey to fill out. And for those of you that do fill it out, we have a Amazon gift card for filling out the survey because we appreciate your input. All right, so let's get into it. Now, there are a lot of ideas you've had when you first started your business. Some of you had a vision for it, as well as many have set goals. And of course, along the way, you've achieved and set some of those goals for the shop and achieved them. That's very well done, because if you look at where you started to where you are now, you're in a better condition. You've improved the condition of your business and you have better control of it. But, you know, it's very interesting. As you go through the days and weeks, you tend to lose focus and fall back into old habits. And we all do this. And you might say to yourself, what am I missing? You know, sometimes, too, what happens is you get into a situation where, you know, hey, well, shop's fine. Things are fine in the shop. You know, things are doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm fine. Well, actually, fine is a four-letter word. I know that sounds kind of odd, but you know what? The thing of it is, if you're not expanding, you're contracting. And if things are just fine, they will catch up with you. So we tend to lose focus. So let's look at some of the other basics you've had in place in your shop over the years. You know, some are so simple, they could get dropped out, looked over without anyone really noticing that they weren't being done until it's too late. So let's go over some examples of this. You know, and this, of course, is one of the benefits of having someone to bounce ideas off of and checking on you on a routine basis. Because, you know, you get lost in the day-to-day actions of the shop and what's going on, not necessarily seeing everything. And of course, in talking to somebody, they say, so what changed? You know, and one of the things that you did when you first started your shop was you set a goal or had a vision. You know, you worked to achieve that goal. But when you reached that goal, some of you did not set new goals for yourself. You know, and that's something that you definitely need to stay on top of, because if you've reached your goals and you don't start new goals, this is where I see funny things happening with shops, you know. Or perhaps you did set a goal for yourself. You set another goal for yourself, but you weren't having a hard time remaining focused on them. Because things in the business, they do change, you know. Let's say one day that tech you hired leaves and you find yourself back in the shop turning wrenches again. That happens. Or perhaps you had someone at the front counter running the day-to-day actions of the shop and they moved on. Now, the thing of it is, there'll always be situations that happen in your business. But how do you keep your eye on the ball? How do you keep things heading in the right direction? Well, with the start of the new year, this is the perfect time to do this. It's a great time to sit down and establish your goals for the year. Figure out where you're going, where you want to be, and actually start to do that. All right. Now, the other thing too is, one of the things to get in the habit of doing is actually looking back at the goals you've had. Did you achieve them? Were they written down? See, that's another thing too. It's a really good idea to write goals down, and I found this for myself as well. When I would write goals down, I would actually achieve them. When I had them in my head, I kind of just went along, didn't really actually get to the goals. So it's a good idea to actually write them down. Now, along with that, too, it's a good idea to actually write down your vision for the shop. You know, where are you going with the shop? Look at it. If the shop were just the way you wanted it, what would it be like? That we like to call an ideal scene. If everything were perfect in the shop, how would it be? Because it's always a work in progress. For those of you who have been in business for a while, I know you'll agree with me that at certain times, as the business grew, you kind of saw where you could go with the business. You had a better idea of what could be changed and what it could be like. You know, now the thing of it is, have you ever looked at it again? And has your vision changed? Has your idea changed? Where are you with the shop? What stage of business are you in? Are you at a point where, hey, maybe it's time for me to get out of this thing? Matter of fact, I was just talking to a friend of mine a little bit ago. He's getting older and finally made the decision. He's looking for a succession plan. Time to get out of the business. All right, but whatever it is, your job as the owner is to set goals for the business. You got to think of yourself as a captain of the ship. You're the one responsible for making sure the ship gets to where you want it to go. I mean, you're the one directing this thing. Now, how do you do this? You do it by planning. We don't do it by hoping. I mean, you could do it by hoping, but then again, there's that four-letter word fine again. So we want to stay away from that. Now, your responsibility as the owner is to improve your existing situations and move it towards the ideal or vision you have for your business. So I'm going to start with a polling question here. Start with the first polling question we have for you here. And I want to find out. So do you regularly sit down and write up a plan for the coming week, month, or year? Or you're actually writing them down? All right. So now, waiting for you guys to respond to this. And you have different plans too. I mean, you have plans of how you're going to get the work done. You have plans on expanding. You have plans on marketing. There's all different types of plans you have. And it's really good to sit down and write these things up so you know where you're going. Especially with a new year, it's a good time to look at what am I going to do for the year? What am I trying to accomplish? All right. So I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am going to close the poll. Let's share it with you. And as you can see, the responses here. All right. 50% of you do it on a monthly basis. A quarter of you do it weekly. That's very good. 13% of you yearly. 25% of you sometimes. 13% is in my head. All right. 50. Yeah, it's a little over 100%, but they give you an option to vote for more than one. So, because sometimes you do more weekly, monthly, you do a little bit of both. Now, the thing of it is, it's a good idea to actually start writing these things down and do them. They're different plans depending on the situation or what you're looking at. As the owner of the business, you're looking at more of a yearly basis. Manager is looking at a monthly basis, and somebody on the front counter or in the shop, they're looking at things weekly or even daily. But it's a good idea to start writing these things down. All right, so let's hide that puppy and move on here. And how do you keep track of your progress towards your goals? By tracking your KPIs or key performance indicators, your statistics, and looking at your numbers. That's what they're for. It's so you know where you're going, where you've been, and where you're going, where you're heading. And am I heading in the right direction or not? Now, question on that is, do you keep your KPIs up to date? Are you looking them on a weekly basis? A weekly basis is ideal because it allows you to fix problems for a month, because if you're only looking at them in a month, the month has gone by and you really can't fix them. So, and do you make corrections in your business based on your numbers, or are you just doing it by the swag method of doing things? Scientific wild ass guesses. All right. So your KPIs are your roadmap, and having them allows you to see what happened in the past and helps you plan for the future, like I've talked about. Now, do you put them in graph form? Because a graph gives you a picture. It's kind of like diagnosing a vehicle. When you diagnose a vehicle and you have that graph form, you can get a better idea of what's going on with that sensor, with that system in the car. So it's a good idea to actually put them in graph form. So that brings me to my next polling question for you. And that is, are you creating graphs for your KPIs? So we're putting the poll out there now and allow you to vote. Okay, come on. There we go. It's starting. You guys are responding. Thank you. Sometimes I always look at this and thinking of the Jeopardy music in the background. All right. And we voted up quickly here. That's awesome. Awesome, guys. Appreciate that. Allow me to get through all this stuff I got for you. Okay. And I'm going to give you another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to close the poll. I'll share it with you. 25% of you doing it always. That's awesome. 38% of you rarely, and 38% of you who has time. Well, here's a very interesting thing, because I felt that way when I first started learning about KPIs and realizing that I needed to track them and look at them. I said, I don't have time for this stuff. I am so busy that I don't even have the time to do them. But, you know, the thing of it is, the thing that freed up my time was actually pulling those numbers up, putting them in graph form so I could take a look at them and quickly spot what's going on with the shop and what area of the shop needs my attention. Instead of me guessing, that's the key here. All right, so we're going to close the poll there. We're going to hide that, and we're going to move on. And, you know, not having these is like trying to diagnose check engine light on a car just by listening to the vehicle. You know, the old way. Go out and listen. And, yeah, I know this is a typical problem. And some of you probably have technicians that ask you this. Hey, boss, you know these vehicles. So what do you think it might be? Now, I know you never do that, so why stop using your graphs? You know, it's something that when you get them in place, start using them. They're important. They are very important. It becomes your gauges. I like to call it your scan tool, so you see what's going on with your business. Now, let's move on here and talk a little bit more about how do you figure out where you want to go this year? What do you want to accomplish? Because there's many different things you may want to accomplish. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to get out of the business? So the thing of it is here, what we want to do is go into that. So let's look at a sales target, because a lot of you come up with a sales target for the year. I want to do $1 million. I can't tell you how many shop owners I've met that say, I want to hit the $1 million mark. Well, that's great. So let's break that down in sales for the month and the week. Well, if we're doing $1 million, I'm going to take my calculator out right now on my trusty cell phone. We all have one of these things. And actually, I just got a new cell phone, so now I got to find the calculator. There it is. Okay. Now, so we're doing $1 million. Lots of zeros there. And we're going to divide that for the month, divided by 12 is $83,333.33. Okay. Now I'm actually going to divide that by 52. That's $19,230.76. Okay. 19 to 30, 76, 77 if you actually should round out. Okay. Now, if you wanted to figure out your build hours, if just a shop in general, 50-50 is parts and labor. So I'm going to divide that by 2. That gives me $9,600 in labor. If your labor rate's $100 an hour, it varies. You can do the math yourself. That turns out that I need 96 hours. I got 3 divided by the 3 technicians in the shop. That means I got to do 32 hours a week. Good. So now we just figured out what I need to do so we can hit the $1 million mark. And 3 techs in the shop doing 32 hours a week and $100 labor rate would get you there. Now, we've worked out the weekly targets. Great. But there's another piece of the puzzle, because you have those numbers, but the important thing you want to do here is this. Next thing you want to do is you give those targets to your employees. And sometimes I know you give them to them and you say, guys, this is what I need you to hit. You guys got to do 35 hours a week. You got to do 40 hours a week. You got to show up every day. You tell them things to do. But the next question is, do you tell them what this is on a regular basis? Do you remind them? Because I can tell you, your guys don't remember, do they? They tend to forget. So this is the importance why you want to have weekly meetings. Here's where you go over these targets and discuss your game plan. You know, look at professional sports teams they play, right? When you watch them play, the coach goes over what the team is going to do before every game and what their plan of attack is. This is just like a weekly meeting. You go over your numbers, you tell them what you want to do, what's expected of them. You give them an attaboy. If you had a horrible week, said, guys, this was a really bad week. Let's put that behind us. We're going to move forward here. Let's forget about that one. We don't want that to happen again. And then just start talking about the positives. So my next polling question is about meetings. Are you regularly having meetings with all of your employees? Do you have a meeting with them? All right, so the poll's coming out there, and go ahead and vote on that puppy so we can see where everybody's at. So I know you like polls, you want to get an idea where everybody else is. All right. I know sometimes guys are a little bit hesitant on having meetings, and one of the reasons is because they become a gripe session. You get guys that just all they do is they complain. They complain about this. They complain about that. They do all these complaining all the time. So the thing is, you're like, what do I want to have these meetings for? All I'm going to do is listen to a bunch of garbage. All right, so you don't actually have the meetings. All right, so I'm going to see if I can get a few more people to vote here. I want to see where you're at with this. All right. Weekly meetings, it's a type of thing where you go over, all right, guys, this is the target. This is what we got coming in. These are some of the things we got to handle. I know collision shops do meetings more than a general repair truck shop. One of the reasons is collision shops, you have to coordinate between the different areas, different departments, so that you actually get work out the door. So that's part of a meeting as well. All right, so we're going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to close this. Let's share it with you. All right. And 43% of you all the time. That's awesome. 29% of you sometimes, 29% never. All right. Meetings are really a good way to actually get everybody on the same page. That's the key to a meeting. Keep it upbeat. Keep it positive. Stay away from the negative, even though it's like sometimes that's where it goes, but we want to stay on the positive side of things here. It just works out so much better. All right, and this way you have everybody behind you and shooting for those goals. And there's other things that you can do too to help push forward those goals. You could create games. You could give them bonuses. Bonuses don't ever actually have to be a monetary thing. So let's going to close this and we're going to move on, because we also run into, you have situations with employees, that they produced well and they're not producing like they used to. They got their head in the sand or wherever they got their head, but not really what the heck is going on with them. So did you ever sit down with them to find out why? What's going on? What's the problem that they're having? What's the issue they're having? What are they having a difficult time with? My goodness, with a lot of the different changes in the industry, and it's happening all the time, they get stuck with something they're not familiar with, and it becomes difficult. So they're a bit confused. They slow down, or maybe they're not as challenged anymore. Maybe they need to work out some goals with them. So that's one thing. Perhaps they need help in establishing goals. It could be a number of things. Sometimes they need help to point them in the right direction. Just, hey, dude, what's happening? What's going on? All right. Now, here, and I'll give you one. There was one shop owner. He was trying to get his manager motivated by money and targets, and these are the sales, and this is what I need you to hit. And it wasn't happening because his wife made really good money, and he really didn't have to work. The reason he worked was for his toys. But of course, his wife got upset if he bought a certain amount of toys, he had to be careful with that. So he found out that if the boss bought him the toys, it wasn't a problem. So guess what he did? He now made the bonus. This is the new bike you want, the new sled you want, the new quad you want, whatever it was. He worked the games around that, and he got the toys. He was very happy. Another shop owner did this similar thing. Guy wanted a new car, so he made the payments every month. If he didn't hit the numbers, he didn't make the payments. Well, guess what? The guy hit the numbers almost every month except one. All right, now, or here's the other thing too. Maybe they need training to be more competent in their positions. So how about setting a goal for them to improve their ability? Set goals for the employees. Sit down with them one-on-one, because this is a win-win situation. They're better able to help the customer, the shop. They make more money themselves. They're able to handle the problems that come into the shop. It's one of the things that we tend to forget about is training. Everybody just gets into what's going on and all the day-to-day stuff, and you tend to forget about what's going on. All right, now let's take a look at something else here. How about, have you reached your goals? Have you lost your passion for the business? How do you fix that one? Well, that can be very interesting, actually. And that's a tough one. And I've seen shop owners struggle with it. Absolutely. You need to have some type of goal. And you also need to realize when you reach your goals. Because if you don't set new goals, new targets, something to get you going in the morning, something to get you motivated, I've seen some really funky things happen in shops where the shop owner blows away all the employees, gets rid of them all. They're all a pain in the neck. I'll do it all myself. And I've seen that a number of times. And as a matter of fact, at one point I saw that where the owner, he just said, you know what? I'm going to fire everybody and I'm going to start all over again. But goals are the key. And having them written down, putting them in front of you, having them there. If there are things that you want to accomplish for yourself, all right? So I got a polling question on this one because I want to see where you're at with it. Are you as passionate as you first were with your business as you used to be? So let's go ahead and fill this one out. See where you're at with that one. Okay. And I know this industry can be challenging, can it? One of the reasons that happens is we're in a situation where customers don't necessarily love to come to us. They're coming to us usually because they have a problem. So they're not in the best frame of mind, and we got to remember that we're there to help them fix their problems. And I will say one thing for you folks. You guys work really hard, and what you do is very valuable, and you don't ever forget that. Sometimes it becomes tough. All right. So I'm going to close the poll now in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll share it with you. Well, 44% of you are yes, 44% sometimes you're not as passionate, and 11% of you rarely. At least I don't have anybody that said I'm done or he didn't want to admit it, but I think we've all had days where that happens as well. All right, well, I appreciate that one. So what I want to do is go on to the next slide here, and let's talk about some ideas that you can do for setting targets for yourself, for your shop and yourself. Sales targets, of course, we talked about that. And if you have any questions about that at all and need help with that, you can definitely call our office. How about turning over hats, turning over responsibilities, turning over jobs? You could actually take a look at the things that you do in the shop and those things that you get tired of doing and take a look at it, because I bet you there's somebody in the shop that could be doing that, and it should just become part of their job. And you could turn that hat over. You could turn that position over, have somebody else do that position. But first, you got to decide that somebody can do that position, because I know when we hold on to those hats, those positions, it's because we feel, well, nobody can do it as good as me. Well, that may be the case, but it's very interesting as well. If they can't do it as well as you, if they did it as well as you, some guys will do it even better than you do. And sometimes we take offense to that. My goodness, when I had guys in the shop that did it better than I did, I was like, what the heck do you need me for? So, got to create a new game for yourself, because you've won that game. It's become easy for you. All right, so turning over hats, that's another one. Days away from the shop, that's an awesome number to keep, to see how many days away from the shop. And that could be, you could be days away from the shop. You want to go on vacation. You want to spend time with the family. I know some shop owners, one shop owner in particular, his passion is that he loves to teach kids how to play baseball, softball, batting. And he likes to train them. And he does it because he enjoys it. He wants to get days away from the shop so he could do that. He really enjoys it. And I have seen him do this with kids. And it's awesome, awesome, awesome to see the result of a kid that's having a hard time, can't hit a ball, and he spends 15 or 20 minutes with them, brings up their confidence, shows them a couple little tips, gets them doing the right thing, and man, they're hitting the ball. And he loves it. So days away from the shop so you can do the things that you want to do. So you could look at your businesses. You could create your business so it's a vehicle for you to do the things that you want to do. Money is one thing. Money helps you get the things you want to get. But the key is time. Time's a very valuable thing. So that's a thing here too. All right. Now, one of the things though is who helps you keep your eye on the ball with your goals for the business? Because the problem is you're the one on the front lines. You're the one dealing with all the day-to-day activities, but there's nobody for you to fall back on. All pros have coaches, someone to point them in the right direction and keep them focused and succeeding. That's the reason management success exists, is so that we can actually help you do that, because we've done that since 1993. So we're 25 years now. Yep. And so we've been doing it for a really long time. We know what we're doing. Everyone that works in the company is passionate about what they do. It's the reason that I do what I do, is because I like seeing you guys succeed. So, how much training do you have as a technician or anything else you're proficient at? And how much experience do you have in that area? I found personally, the more training that I get in an area, the better equipped I was to handle any situation that came up. So here's another thing that you can do for yourself, is just set a training plan for you as the owner. And it'll help you be competent in running your business. And sometimes you know what some of those barriers are, but what are you not aware of? What don't you see? Because when you're in the day-to-day actions, a lot of times that gets missed. So, it's important to identify the key actions that need to occur in the business. It's just the same way when you look at a car and you're going to figure out what needs to be done to fix it. You got to identify the key actions that need to occur to make that happen. And that's how you achieve your goals. So one of the things that we've done and that we've created is we have a shop business analysis. This is something that you can do from the comfort of your own shop. You don't even have to go anywhere to do it. And it's an awesome service. And it was actually developed by an advisory council of shop owners with management success. And it's a one-time service at a very low cost, at very low time investment. And it'll identify the areas of your shop that need to be addressed to get your shop to the next level, help you achieve your goals. That's what we're here for. It'll identify the strengths and weaknesses of your shop and what's going on in it, what you're doing right, what you could do better. Complete analysis of your shop online presence by a social media expert on exactly what needs to be done to increase your car count. And some clients that have received that have increased their online presence over 200%. And it's your opportunity to talk one-on-one to a master consultant and pick their brains about what your shop needs and tailor things especially to you. All right. So that's something that you can definitely check us out and find out more about. And I do wish all of you the best in achieving your goals in this new year in 2018. And we're here to help you achieve your goals. And for more information about management success and what we do, 818-500-9631 is the number, www.managementsuccess.com. And I want to thank you all for coming this evening. I hope I've helped and motivated you to push forward and continue to expand your business. Stay away from being fine. We want to be more than fine. And I wish all the best in achieving your goals. So I do also want to say, you guys, like I said earlier, you guys work really hard. You wear your hearts on your sleeves. You deserve to do well, and we're here to help you with that. Now, I want to thank you. We're going to have more webinars as the year goes on here. So this is the reason for the final survey. And fill out the survey after the webinar and receive a $5 Amazon.com gift card. And like I said, I wish you all the best. For the survey, though, I am going to end the webinar. It takes a good minute to a minute and a half, sometimes even 2 minutes for the survey to pop up. Fill it out, and you'll receive an Amazon gift card for $5. You can go and get something with it. And again, folks, have an awesome year. Do well. Take care. And thank you for attending.